Today we're gonna be making a hot cocoa soap. So I'm gonna use real cocoa powder to color the soap. I also made some embeds that you can see on Instagram. And yeah, let's get started. I heated my oils and the lye water has cooled. So let's just pour the lye water down the side as always. Whoop. And then we're just gonna turn around in a little bit before we stick blend, just so it is mixed together. All right, time to stick blend. Alright, I think we're at trace now. Alright, so we're gonna pour off 400 grams, and that's gonna be for the whipped cream. I tried to make this batter as white as possible because I don't have anything to color white with. You see, it is a bit yellowish, but it might turn. And we're gonna pour off 400 grams. There we go, perfect. This will be our whipped cream part, and this will be our cocoa part. I am just gonna try and thicken this up a little bit, not too much, but stick blending it seems to make it more white, so that's what I'm trying to do. And we do want pretty thick batter anyway, because we're gonna make it layered. So I want those layers to be apart from each other. Alright, I got some cocoa powder here. I'm gonna start off with 1 teaspoon and see how it goes. I'm just gonna use this, the whisk first. See how that turns out. And then I'm gonna stick blend it afterwards to make it thicker. Okay, that's a lovely chocolate brown. I think we can use a bit more. I saw a video where someone colored with cocoa powder where they had put too much cocoa powder in, and that had seized the soap, so we don't want to put too much in. But I do believe we need another tablespoon, because the color does change once you pour it. I saw that on the embeds. They were quite dark when I made the batter, but then when they came out, it looked, so in the batter it looked like dark chocolate, but then when the embeds were, when I took them out of the mold, they were more of a milk chocolate color. So you do need more than you think. Just a little bit more. There we go. think that should be enough. Right, just gonna stick blend it to make it a more thick batter, and also to get all that cocoa mixed evenly throughout. There we go. Alright, and you see on the mold I have made some markings. That is where I'm gonna cut the soap, and that's also the, it's not for when I cut it, of course, because that at that time it will be out of the mold, but it's to see where I need to put my embeds. Just circa. And this time I'm not using my spatula to get the last bit out. I'm using this beater because I'm going to try and ladle the whipped cream part on, so I don't want that to be all covered in chocolate. Alright. Looks like we got a bit of bubbles in it. That's probably because we stick blended so much. I'm gonna try and tap those out a little bit. I also think it needs to set up a little bit before we add the whipped cream. Alright, so it has thickened up a little bit. You see it's kind of still a little bit wobbly. Here my cream, however, is nice and thick, and I hope that I can like ladle it on and it won't break through too much, but you know, it's hot cocoa, you know, otherwise it's just the whipped cream has just fallen a bit more down in some sides than others. That makes sense, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, oh, this is scary. It's going alright, it's going alright. I'm so afraid to take too much. But it seems to work, this ladle thing. It's just slow because I have to take just teensy portions at a time. So now I put on the whipped cream layer. Now for the fun part, the embeds. This is the first time I made embeds, like ever. In every video I want to challenge myself in some way, a new way, because I actually haven't made soap for that long. So this is my way of learning all the ways of soaping. So from the embeds I made these little filled chocolates, and from the leftovers of that I put it in the muffin molds that you've seen earlier, and then I took some today and I just cut them into little pieces like this, so to look like chocolate pieces. Yeah, if I had a grater I would do that. I think next time if I make this soap again, I'm probably gonna make this a week in advance so that the soap has hardened up a little bit, and then I will use a grater. I think that will make a more realistic look. But I do like the little bits I made here. My boyfriend said if they had a different color they looked like bacon bits, and I agree with him. So I'm just gonna sprinkle these over. Just gonna make sure there's some in the sides as well. And then just fill in where there's a bit of gaps. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. There's a little bit left over, but I can fill it in a little bit more. Right there. Yeah. Alright, that's good. Alright, and now for the thing I've been looking forward to the most. I'm gonna place my little filled chocolates. Now these don't look perfect because it's the first time I made embeds. And there are some other things. You see, it's quite a tricky pattern here, so what happened was when I unmolded them, I didn't do it carefully enough, so they broke off or they got bent and such. Perhaps I should have let them stay in the mold a bit longer, but it's a learning process. I'm just gonna use this one. This one is the one I used to cut the soaps in the last video, and I'll also be using to cut this one later in the video. It's just to see where to place it. Oh no. Looks like a little bit of whipped cream got on that thing. Ah, that's why. Okay, okay. So the gloves are a bit longer than my fingers, so I didn't know how far it went down, so it touched the whipped cream. All right. All right, I'm just gonna leave this here. That's the finished soap. This will this turned out nicely, I feel like. It was a bit difficult inserting the embeds. It helped that I kind of dropped them. I will see you in a day, and then I will cut out the soaps and show you the result. Alright, so here we are the next day, You can see it turned out lovely and white on top. So let's just pop this out of the mold. Yes. There we go. And let's see. That looks great. Let's just see the bottom. All right. So you see it goes inwards on the bottom. What I did last time, it bent outwards here. So I popped this one underneath the mold. However, I think it was a bit too thick since, you know, it goes inwards now. I'll have to see what I'll do next time to see if I can get more flat bottom. Alright, so the mold is about 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. So we'll cut around 7 and 13. So that we'll have 3 bars here. Oh. 7 is right there. And 13 right there. We'll do the same thing on the other side. This is just markings, so I know where to cut it. And I'll also do one in the middle. Oh no! Oh no, don't ruin the soap. And 13. There. And then in the middle. Alright. Alright, here we go. Okay, that one was quite hard to cut through. Whew. Ah, scary work. Oh no. Okay, I cut it a little bit crooked. No matter, it will only be 1 bar it will be visible on. But that's how it looks like on the inside. So you can see the cocoa part here and the whipped cream. Yes. And then we'll just put this over here while we cut this one. That's funny, it went better last time with doing this, but again, only be 1 bar. Well, yes, actually just 2 bars in total. I think we'll start with the middle piece and cut. And here I won't measure because I'll just do it between the embeds, and it should be around the same. You see it's a little bit sticky still, but they are quite hard to cut through though. But yeah, that's 1 bar here. They look so cute. I really like the size of these. I think they will be a good size for actually washing your hands. Like it seems to fit in the palm of your hand pretty nice. So that's good. Let me just have a whiff. They don't smell much, since I didn't put any essential oils or fragrance oil in it. I did put some cocoa in it. Some people say that that gives a mild smell of cocoa. Others say it doesn't come through at all. I'd say, I don't think you can smell it. Maybe just a little bit. And now for the last bar. So I was thinking, you know how there's both hot chocolate and hot cocoa? I was wondering how many of you prefer hot chocolate and how many prefer hot cocoa. For me, I prefer hot cocoa because I feel like the chocolate kind of just, if you don't stir it all the time, it just gets stuck to the bottom. And especially if it's on dark chocolate, you kind of get a surprise. You've been drinking milk the whole time, and then suddenly just a burst of this bitterness. But write down in the comments what you prefer and why. I'd love to know, because people have different preferences. So I really liked how these turned out. I think they're just beautiful. Honestly, look at them. I never expected it to actually become that white. I'm really surprised because I didn't use like anything to color it white at all. The thing I did was I used a lot more, I used coconut oil, a lot of coconut oil, and then I also used, and then I also used some sunflower oil, and very little olive oil, because the olive oil can color it a darker color, whereas the other ones leave more of a white result. So that's how I got these bars, the whipped cream so white. What I actually did with the embeds, I didn't use sunflower oil at all. I used a lot of coconut oil, and I used some olive oil, and then I also used Earl Grey in the lye water, because I thought it might color it, a bit darker, so you could see that. So there was a difference between the embed and the cocoa, but it didn't really seem like it made much of a difference. As you see, it's not completely the same, but it's close. I wanted to use coffee, but I didn't have some, so that's why I tried Earl Grey. So that's some of the considerations I had when making the soap. I think the white part turned out great. So one thing I really think I succeeded in was making that straight line. Last time I wanted to make a layered soap but failed. It turned out nice as anyway, but what I did to make that line was I stick blended both of these parts longer, and I also waited for this part to set before I put this on, and then I ladled it on, um, so the line would be more distinct. And you see, you can see the layer is pretty straight. It's not mixing or anything, which I'm really glad about. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a like if you like this hot cocoa soap, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.